Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today I'm playing Entropia Universe. What we're going to be talking about today is making a full-time income on Entropia Universe. So full disclosure, I'm going to be running these numbers for you guys, telling you how to do it, but I am not making a full-time income on Entropia Universe. I have about 5,000 USD in Entropia Universe. I've never made a deposit. I never plan to. I also never plan to make a withdrawal. So this video isn't coming from someone who makes a full-time living, but I know how to run the numbers and I have enough insight into the economy that I think I can give you guys sort of a pretty good picture of it. So first things first, the easiest way to make that money, and I guess full thing, we're going to say a full-time income would be about 100 USD a day on Entropia Universe. 100 USD a day, assuming you're willing to move to the right city, to the right location, can get you by in pretty much any country. If you're going to be living somewhere that is a lot cheaper to live in, somewhere like, India or some places in Eastern Europe, or even like Spain or Portugal, 100 USD is going to go a lot farther, whereas if you decide to live in the middle of London, good luck living on that income. It's not possible. And yeah, that's where we're standing. So first things first, the easiest way to do it would be if you invest in deeds. Now, as far as deeds go, you've got a few different types of deeds. You've got Arcadia Underground deeds, you've got Arcadia Moon deeds, you've got Calypso Palace deeds or shares, and then you've got Calypso Land deeds. For the purpose of this video, we're looking for a consistent, and this is a key, a consistent income, which means you're going to want to look at Calypso Land deeds or Arcadia Underground deeds. Of the two, Arcadia Underground deeds are the cheapest, but we're going to assume that money can't be an option here because you can't take 10 PEDs, put it into deeds, and make 100 USD a day. If you could, I'd be doing it, and if you guys know how to, please let me know because I'd love to be loaded. Anyways. Calypso Land deeds, that's going to be the place to go. Calypso Land deeds are paying about 5 PEDs a deed. During events and stuff like that, it's going to be higher, but if we want to maintain that minimum of 100 USD a day, a 5 PED payout per day or per week is a fairly standard payout, okay? Now, if we run the numbers, 5 PEDs payout, you're going to have to make, what is it? So you've got seven days in a week, obviously. So you're going to need to make about 7,000 PEDs to cover those payouts. And right now we're not counting withdrawals or anything like that, but once you count withdrawals into the picture, let me look this up real quick because I don't actually know what the cost is to withdraw. This is something I should have looked up, but this is going to come into account. I think it's like 10% or something like that. Oh, the withdrawal fee is 1% of the amount you wish to withdraw. So you're going to be, so if you want to make 100 USD a day, you're going to need to make 110 or 101 US dollars, basically. So we're looking to make 101 US dollars, but since that's such an insignificant amount, let's just say 100 USD a day is what we're looking to make. This means you're going to want to make 700 USD a week or 7,000 PEDs in 1 week. So to figure that out, you're basically going to take 7,000, you're going to divide that by 5, and that's the number of deeds that you need to buy. So according to my math, you need 1,400 Calypso Land deeds to make 100 USD a day. And I've given a bunch of numbers online, but these are the most accurate numbers I can come up with. We're doing this all live. We're doing this right here. So these are 100% sort of accurate numbers based on the numbers I'm giving you guys. I'm running the math right here on a calculator. This isn't like top of my head type of math. All right, so right now, if you look at the markup price on deeds, currently, and also just if you take a look here, you're going to see that the deeds are actually projected to pay out 55 PEDs a week. So you're actually a little bit above that number that we're looking for. So you could probably get this number down a little bit lower, but we're going to be conservative here, okay? So if you're looking, also don't listen to projected ROI. Projected ROI is based on 1,000 PEDs rather than 2,000, so this is no longer applicable. Anyways, the weekly revenue is so 5 PEDs a week, you need 1,400 deeds. If you look at this, basically you can't buy this in a day. Three deeds have been sold today, right? 34 this week, 218 for the month, 3,600 for the year, and 121,000 for the decade. Now, obviously, some deeds are being resold multiple times, but there's definitely enough deeds out there to support this, okay? I forget how many CLDs there are, but I think the number's like 100,000, or it is pretty high, right? So 1,400 Calypso Land deeds, you can definitely buy that. You could actually find the number by just taking that total yearly revenue. Anyways, the number's high enough that 1,400 can be supported. You're going to need to do this stealthily. You're going to need to buy them and be smart about it, because as you can see, over a year, 3,600 deeds are sold. So no matter what you do, you're definitely going to be edging that price up. So let's assume the average deed that you get is going to cost you about 2,200 PEDs. You're going to bump the price up about 5%, we're going to say. So let's do the math here. So it's going to be 2,200 PEDs, which means you're going to be spending 308,000 USD to buy enough deeds that you would be making $100 a day. Okay, so if you get $3,008, you could walk away with $100 a day. That's not too bad. That's not bad at all, in my opinion. That's a lot of money. I definitely agree with that. And your returns, if you have that type of money saved up, you're not going to be looking to live off of $100 a day. But there you go. That's sort of the numbers that we ran through. Okay. And obviously there is some risk involved. The deed prices could drop and then you lose some of your investment, or you could end up, the game could go under, and if the game goes under, MindArk pays out the PED value that your account's worth. That's at least how I assume it's going to be. And as you can see, there's no PED value here. So if you are going to invest some significant portion of money like that into Entropia Universe, I'd suggest talking to MindArk, because I'm willing to bet that if you go to MindArk and you say, I got $300,000 burning a hole in my pocket and I want to put it into your game, you can get some pretty good deals from them. They might even waive a few of your, fees and stuff like that. You could probably get a deal. I'd contact them, because I don't think they'd be too unhappy with you. So there we go, 308,000 USD, and you're making $100 a day. End of video. No, we're not going to end the video here, because that would be lame. Now, if you're looking, obviously there are some other things that you could do. You could buy a planet, you could buy a land area, you could do all sorts of things like that. Now, land areas, if you know what you're doing, there are these things in Entropia Universe called land areas. So this is a land area right here. We can actually go to that land area. Let's go right to that land area. So a land area is a player-owned piece of land, whereas with deeds, it's something that's passively managed by MindArk or Arcadia or something like that, and you just get a percent, sort of like dividends. Actually, exactly like dividends. Land areas are managed by the player. Okay, so this provides a unique opportunity for players to decide what mob goes on the land area, to manage the land area, and everything like that. Now, one thing to remember with land areas is that you have to pay for product, right? So if you're going to buy a land area, you've got to pay for fertilizer to keep the land area fertilized. You've got to pay for DNA. And in return, you can set taxes, okay? So taxes are basically what someone's going to pay when they go to your land area. So let's just run over here, and you can see this land area's taxes. You can see that they've got some sort of level 13 mobs. These are sort of normal mobs here. This land area is probably valuable because it's right by a teleporter, which means it's very close for players to get to. But let's see what the taxes are, because that you can sort of see. Let's run in here. Here we are. We're in the land area. Is it going to tell us the taxes? It should. There we go. Oh, so this has 0%. So you're going to get a message like this. You can set taxes up to 5%, basically. And maybe this is owned by Arcadia and I just don't know it, or something like that. But basically, there's land areas that go up for sale. A land area is going to cost you somewhere in the range of 10 to 30,000 USD. If you have a really good land area, you're going to be pulling in about 5% of what's looted on that land area. If you have a land area like Royal Club or maybe like Nia's place, you're probably doing pretty okay, I'd say. It's hard for me to know. I don't know anyone that owns a land area, but I assume that you're going to be pulling in a little bit more than you would be pulling in if you owned a similar amount of deeds. I'm assuming your return, if you manage everything right, is going to be something like 10%, maybe 20% if you're doing events and getting the right players there and getting the right people to come to your land area. But there are a few problems with land area ownership. It's not as scalable as deed ownership. Deeds, you simply buy more. Land areas, you need to buy more, but you also need to manage those, and you need to get players over there. And there's only so big of a player base, and there's only so many players that can hunt different mobs, and there's always competing players and people that are looking for this mob or that mob, but you've really got to be on top of it. And if you fall out of favor with just a few elite players, you could find yourself in some real trouble. When I have talked to land area owners like a decade ago, a lot of them said that their returns were I think they were saying they were making like a couple hundred PEDs a day off of one land area. And this was a really well-managed land area. This person was making a couple hundred PEDs a day, and they were spending about 100 PEDs a day on the land area, 200, somewhere in there, like a couple hundred PEDs they were making. And overall, they said they were making about 100 to 200 PEDs. If we assume that this figure holds true, you're going to need quite a few land areas. And these are land areas that are by the teleporters. They have command centers and all that in them, which is something that you're going to have to pay for. So if you, again, run the numbers on this, and this is way out there. Like, I'm not 100% sure if these numbers probably aren't accurate anymore. But if you run the numbers on this, let's assume if you're making about 100 PDs off of each land area, maybe 200, let's say, if you've got a good land area, you're going to need a couple land areas. You're going to need that income to be stable. So let's say that you're going to need about 5 to 10 land areas. Most likely, I think you could do it with 5 land areas if you had the right mobs and the right people going to the land area. One of the things that's important is getting your land area to show up in globals and HOFs on the message board. So if you go here, let's see if the Hall of Fame has any. If you go Hall of Fame, sometimes, does it show on the Hall of Fame? Maybe it doesn't. There's a little bug here. I don't know if you guys saw that. There's a little bug there, but sometimes it'll show like something looted on, maybe it's not showing here, but sometimes you can see like in the messages, it'll tell you where the loot was found, like what land area was found or something like that. That is something that's going to cost money to do. For some reason, I'm not seeing any globals here, but when you get a global or a HOF, it's going to broadcast across the planet. It's going to tell you where it was looted. It's going to tell you like some information if you paid for it. So land area owners can draw people in by throwing events, getting them their land area to show up as a lot of globals go off here and a lot of cool stuff is happening. Yeah, here you go. Here's a global, right? So sometimes they'll say on land area, whatever, right? If you can draw players in, you can do pretty good. And let's say, again, let's say 100 PDs to 200 PDs is what you're making. You need 5 to 10 land areas, which again puts you around that $300,000 mark. Land areas are currently sort of falling in value, which is definitely a negative because there's planets and all these other things are taking player interest, which means land area owners are slowly making less and less money. You don't want to hold a depreciating asset, so I would not say that this is the best way to go. Let's see if any land areas are for sale on Calypso, actually. So we don't have any land areas, but we do have some shops. And this brings up the next thing. The next way that you can make money would be by trading shops. Also, let me just check this real quick. Yeah, all right. So you're going to see that, I think, are these the same? Hold on one sec, because there's 2 types of Calypso land deeds. Here they are. Okay, so there's 2 types of Calypso land deeds. If it has an X, that means you can't use the deed to get property. That's a whole nother system. It doesn't matter for this video. So yeah, the other way you can do it is you can own shops and stuff like that. So shops basically allow you to sell stuff like you would on auction, but you can sell it without having to pay the auction fee. An auction fee is 50 PECs plus a percentage of the markup. Now, if you're going to be selling items or trading online, you've got to do a few things, right? You've got to be selling items that you can get a large amount of. So if you're just selling one-offs like expensive swords and expensive armor, you can make a lot of money all at once doing that, but it's not going to be a consistent paycheck. So we're going to throw that out. You're going to need something where there's a huge amount of volume on it too, because again, you're trying to make 1,000 PEDs a day. So let's take something like oil, right? Oil, you can see there's 2,100 PEDs worth sold a day. So if you wanted to take over the crude oil market, if you had 50% of the market, and let's say you were making, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. I'm going to say, let's say on an average trade, you're going to make about 1 to 2%. Let's say 1% because we're being conservative for this video. That means that what are you going to need to make? You're going to need to be selling about 100,000 PEDs worth of volume every day, right? Because if you do the math, 100,000 is 1,000 PEDs, which means you're going to be making $100 a day. So 100,000 PEDs, that means you're going to need to invest 10,000 USD, and this is assuming you do everything perfectly. Now, to scale up with this, you're going to need to find a lot of people who can sell to you. You're basically going to need every miner in-game to come to you, because as you can see with oil, you've got that 2,000. You've only got 2,000 PEDs worth of oil going through every day. If you look at something like Melchi crystals, you got 1,000 PEDs, right? So like not too much, and oil is probably going to be one of the more popular ones. Now let's go to N matter and let's look at something like list, which is going to be pretty popular. Iron's pretty popular too. So with the iron, let's click that. Again, 6,000 PEDs worth. That's a little bit better. But even if you controlled the whole market, you're still not going to be hitting that 100,000 mark. If you have gas, now where are you sitting? Now you're sitting at, all right, you're sitting at 6,000. So like you can see, if you can do a lot of ores in N matter, you might just barely be able to hit that mark. But you're going to need a lot of miners to be on your side. You're going to need a lot of people working with you. And on the other side of things, you're going to definitely need some crafters there, right? This is part of the problem, right? You need to have both sides of this covered. You need to know the miners, and then you need to know the crafters, and you need to be giving everybody a good enough deal so that you're walking away, that everybody walks away happy and they use you again. As you can see here with the list, 13,000 PEDs is sold daily, so that doesn't even cover the volume you need. If you're selling the whole list market, which is, again, it's completely unreasonable to assume that you could sell the whole market. So like, just based on this, based on the numbers we're seeing, and I'm going to pull up some of these: animal adrenal oil, brain oil. And again, look at the markup on this, right? Like eye oil, even if you're making 1% off of eye oil, that means you're buying it at 100.84, which you're probably not going to be buying it at that if you're buying it in this volume where you're buying thousands of PEDs worth a day. It's just not, that's just not how it works, okay? So I'm going to say trading is not a viable way to do this. Obviously, if you start combining things, if you start trading something like, again, animal spleen oil, here you go, 20,000 PEDs worth is sold, right? If you can get 10,000 animal spleen oil, you're going to get yourself, what, 10% of the way there. Maybe it's doable. Maybe this is doable, but it's extremely hard. You're going to need to know a lot of hunters, a lot of miners, and you're going to have both of them coming to you to sell all of their products. And then you're going to need to know crafters that you can sell to. And you're going to need a lot of crafters who will go through you. And I don't even know if that market's there, because I don't think there's that many people crafting in that big of a volume. And most of the people that are crafting those high volume things, they go directly to the miners. So you've got to be a middleman, and it's a very, very hard game to play, and it's very hard to play consistently. So I'm going to say trading you can't really do. But could you be doing 10,000 PEDs worth of trades every day if you're on for, let's say, 5 hours, 6 hours a day? Probably. You could probably do it. If you really hit that peak and you're doing everything good, you can probably do it, and that's going to take 10% off. So now instead of $300,000 worth of deeds, you're going to need $2,708 or something like that dollars worth of deeds, plus another $10,000 to play investor with or trader with, okay? Now, the other ways that you can do this is you can craft, you can mine, or you could hunt. Okay, so to craft, mine, or hunt, you're going to need a few things, none of them which I possess. For crafting, if you want to make money crafting and you want to make 100 USD a day crafting, you're going to need to be crafting some very high use guns. If you look at the guns that I use, like let's look at this. So let's say like an LR gun, right? Let's just do LR dash. Okay, so these are very popular guns. An LR-15, these are guns that can be crafted. Again, only 700 PEDs worth of that gun's craft is sold every day. That's not much. And off of these guns, let's see, if you're a prime crafter, if you've got the right blueprints, so this is going to be some sort of like unlimited blueprint, some sort of really good blueprint. You're going around the auction, you're selling directly to players. Maybe you can move a decent volume. Let's say you can move about 100 PEDs a day of this gun. If you're making about 1 to 2%, since you're a crafter, let's say you make 10%. We're going to be very liberal with all this. We're going to assume you've got the numbers good, you're getting good prices on everything. Let's say you're making 10%, okay? And this could be somewhat viable for like a high level crafter, literally like one of the best in the game. They're paying 109% markup on most of the stuff that they're getting, all the ores and matter, everything like that. They're crafting it, they're failing, they're losing about 10% on the crafting attempts. But let's say they're really good. They're losing 5% on the crafting attempts, right? So that means anything over 115%, or let's say 115% is profit. So if they're selling at 120, they can make 5% profit on the LR15. If they have an LR45, now maybe they're only making 1% profit. If you've got an LR25, see, you're going to make, again, 5% profit. But again, look at the volume on this. The volume's just too low on these guns. And these are some of the more popular guns. And this is a problem that you're going to run into. It's very hard to maintain that volume. Now, keep in mind, I am on Arcadia, and I think that does affect... I'm not sure if this is universal or not, but again, if you look at this volume, it's just not high enough to sustain a crafter that's trying to make 100 USD a day. But if you have some crafting skills, you can probably pull it out. If you have some mining skills, again, if you have all the right mining gear, I think the biggest I've heard of, and this was on another YouTube video. Let me look it up real quick so I can give them a shout out, because it's a good video. Someone did a YouTube video and they talked to this guy named Messi. He's a Entropia Universe player, and really probably one of the best. He probably is the best Entropia Universe player out there. So it's mmorpg. He has a YouTube channel. Google it, you check it on YouTube. He definitely has some really good videos, and he has Just Mining Entropia Universe episode 12 Q&A with Messi91. Messi91 is a huge player, right? Like probably the biggest Entropia player out there. Supposedly he does Entropia as a full-time job. Now, if you watch that video, Messi says that he's making 10,000 PEDs a month with mining, okay? And I think that's right. I'm quoting a quote here. I've watched the video, but I'm just reading this off my Discord. Someone said that's what he's making, and basically he's renting an UNL amplifier. Watch the video. I'm not going to tell you how, but basically he's renting some stuff out using some really high-level gear, which is extremely expensive. Like, we're talking under 100,000 PEDs to buy it all, but quite a bit, right? So if he can make 10K PEDs a month, that means he's making 1,000 USD a month mining. And he does hunting and all sorts of stuff too. But if you assume that number, you divide that by, let's say, average number of days in a month is 30, you're talking about $33 a day, which is getting you part of the way there, but not all the way there. So as you can see, if you start combining crafting, mining, and hunting, and I don't know how you get the experience in all three of these, you would probably just barely, like, let's say if he can make 10,000 PEDs mining, you could make 10,000 hunting and 10,000 crafting that you could count on. This is going to take an investment of a lot of time, a lot of research, and it's probably going to cost you, just based on what I know and how much that UNL gear costs, because the UNL gear is the stuff that's really going to help you with those percentages and efficiency and all of that. That is probably going to cost you about, I'd say for everything, it's going to cost you 500,000 to 1 million PEDs. So we're talking about probably about 100,000 USD invested, and that's going to get you to the place where you can start making 100 USD a day, I think, okay? And now I'm trying to be conservative here because I want to be realistic. I don't want some kid listening to this to think he can take $10,000 and become rich in Entropia. So probably, as far as this video goes, right, the best way of making money in Entropia Universe, if you are willing to invest unlimited time and unlimited research, and you've got the intelligence to run the numbers, you're a grade A statistician, and for some reason you don't want to go count cards at a blackjack table, you could put 100,000 USD into Entropia Universe, buy the gear that you need, and start crafting, mining, and hunting. And again, if you're mining and hunting, you can use that for crafting. So if you can start combining all this stuff, you're just multiplying the percent profit. You're cutting out that middleman, and you're doing good. And again, you can find the traders. Like, you can find the trader that's trying to do that 100 USD thing that I just talked about, and he'll be willing to work with you too. But if you run all those numbers right, you're getting the best percentages, the best markup, and you're making the most money. Let's assume that you're going to make about 30K, 30K, let's say you're going to make 30K, 10K off of each profession. You're going to be, there you go. That's about 100 USD a day playing Entropia Universe. And that's through the professions. Again, anytime MindArc changes things, anytime MindArc changes the loot, or anytime a markup's affected or anything like that, it's going to have a huge negative impact on you, which means it's not going to be a stable 100 USD a day. If you own a land area, it's a little bit more stable, but the land area's price is going to fluctuate, and there's always a chance that players might end up favoring. For instance, if you own a land area on Calypso, Arcadia unleashes like a new event where they're just looting awesome stuff and everybody's over here, you're not going to make too much, right? Like, players are going to leave, and then you can't do it. If you own deeds, if you own CLDs, you're going to have to spend 300,000, but it's going to be a little bit more consistent, and you can spread that money out. You can do some CLDs, some Arcadia Underground deeds, I wouldn't throw in Moon or Crystal Palace shares just yet, especially if you're looking for stability, but you can do that, you can combine that, and you can sort of make your money without doing anything. So passive income, 300,000 USD is going to make you enough money off of deeds that you can make 100 USD a day. Now, if you're looking for a less passive income source and you want to do land areas, you could do it. You could probably be investing, I forgot what we said, but I think we said like 300 to 200,000. Again, you're going to lower that number a little bit because land areas have decreased in price. I haven't been tracking them too often just because I'm not interested, but you could probably get it for, let's say, like 200 to 100. Yeah, let's say about 200,000 for land area. It's a little bit more expensive. There's some management required. You're going to need to run the numbers right, but you could make it work, especially if you start looking at places like FOMA. If you can revitalize those places and get a lot of people in, awesome. And if you're willing to put in as much time as possible, if you're willing to spend every day, all day, writing numbers, running stats, you've got the degree, you've got the knowledge, you've got everything going for you, and you're willing to take that risk, for 100,000 USD, you could probably buy all the gear that you need to become a professional Entropia Universe player, making 100 USD a day. Now, these are just 3 ways you could do it. If you're like Never Die, or if you're like Neo Maven, or any of those guys who are old guys who put money into these random places speculatively and then had their investments jump in price. Like Never Die has made more off of FOMA or Club Never Die than you could make with any of these methods I described. He doubled that down into Entropia. I'm not sure how that's gone, but I know he did really good at FOMA. Also, look at this global here. It says 211 PDs at FOMA main area. You can do that with land areas. That's what I was talking about. So if you do stuff like this, that's really going to start bringing in a lot more money for you. But yeah, there we go. Obviously, there are people making money other ways, but if you're looking to play the game and make money, those are some of the ways to do it. If you're trading, I know we discussed it, but I just don't think the volume's there for a trader to do it professionally and make 100 USD a day consistently. They can get those one-off trades, they can get those special item trades, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep that volume up for long enough. I don't think they're going to be able to find enough people. At some point, someone's going to get pissed off with them, and it's going to fall apart. So yeah, 3 ways to make 100 USD a day in Entropia Universe, and 1 way where you could probably be making like 10 to 20 bucks a day in Entropia Universe. This all takes a lot of time, and if you're really looking to invest, if you're really looking for somewhere to put all this money that's burning a hole in your pocket, there are much better places that you could go, in my opinion. But this isn't what that video is about. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you think I'm wrong about something, which I probably am, feel free to leave that down below too. I am completely open to criticism as long as it's constructive, which means don't insult me, tell me where I was wrong. Anyways, thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.